to another roundtable. Our roundtable session today is about SEO and Google Business Profile. I would like to start thanking our guests for coming today. I would like to introduce them. So first we have Adam Cronster. He is an entrepreneur, speaker, digital marketer, and founder of InLeaf, a data-driven marketing agency helping business grow through SEO and digital strategy. And for more than 15 years, Adam has helped companies solve complex marketing challenges through practical systems and measurable execution. He's spoken at conferences across North America, Asia, and Europe, and his work has been featured in publications included Wired, The Wall Street Journal, congratulations, Adam, SEMrush, and Digital Marketer. He has a course with us here at IMG. So in his last course, he brings together AI, podcast, and authorship and PR into a practical framework that helps professionals build authority faster using systems that are repeatable, scalable, and immediately actionable. Please be welcome, Adam. Do you want to add anything else to your introduction here?
I think you covered most of it. I think the only thing that, that's new probably as of prior to this engagement is I recently just published a book on very much the same thing. So a book titled Authority Engineering. So if you want to learn more about what I've been passionate about for the last year and a half, a lot of it is compiled in that book. So
Oh, amazing. Congratulations on that.
thank you.
And then later, like if you wanted to send me the link, so when we promote the event in our socials, I can send the link in our socials as well.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Secondly, I wanted to introduce Yash. Yash, he is the founder of TradeOps Consulting, a results-driven digital agency that has helped over 60 businesses, from SaaS startups to local storefronts, scale their revenue through innovative local SEO and marketing strategies. He's known for his nonsense approach to ROI and disruptive tactics, digital tactics. He has become the go-to expert for home service business owners looking to outpace their competitors and dominate local search. He specializes in turning complex marketing challenges into a scalable system that drive measurable growth. Please, Yash, be welcome. Yash Singh, do I say your name Singh? Is correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Do you want to add something else to your introduction?
No, I think you did great.
Okay. Thank you, Yash, and please be welcome, and thank you very much for accepting, all of you accepting the invitation for today. And last but not least, I would like to welcome Colette Nico. She's the founder of Story Envelope Media, a boutique Vancouver-based SEO and video marketing agency serving financial advisory firms and premium service providers across North America. She combines more than a decade of experience in storytelling, video production, and search engine optimization to help business become the trusted resource prospects find online when making important purchasing and financial decisions. And she was the winner of our latest testing hackathon. She explored whether adding experiential case studies could influence rankings and AI visibility within a local SEO framework. Please be welcome, Colette. Would you like to add anything else?
No, just thank you so much for having me and having all of us, and putting the conversation together.
Oh, sorry, I was checking in YouTube. Thank you, Colette, and congratulations again on being the hackathon winner. We are so glad to have you here.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
yeah, and my first question actually is a little bit about that. So in the last month, you were testing for the hackathon, and you specialize in blending storytelling, video, and organic SEO to drive traffic for clients. And for beginners who are just starting with local SEO, how can they use a testing mindset combined with storytelling to make their initial Google business profile and local website pages to stand out?
Yeah, so I think the testing mindset is like mission critical. And so just beginning with that understanding that everything is a test, especially as everything evolves with relative speed these days, knowing that, yeah, testing is just a part of the game. So having that straight ahead in your mindset, even if something fails, you can get data from that, and that's really important. And then in terms of if you're just starting out and you're wanting to maximize your Google business profile, your website, I really think in terms of storytelling, it's important to start out by thinking about your ideal client. So you have your own client, they have their client. So who is the ideal client of the person you're working with, the ideal client of that website? That matters a lot because you can drive traffic, but if you're not positioning yourself for that ideal client on the website, you're not going to see the conversions that you need. So in terms of storytelling, I always think of the ideal client is the hero. So everything we're doing is trying to tell the story of that person who ultimately is going to buy. Hopefully, that's what we want. Want them to land on the website, convert, and purchase, right? The thing or the service. So yeah, that's where I come from a storytelling perspective. And I think it can get missed if you just dive into the tools right away. You can see, oh, look, all these keywords, but which ones matter? You don't know which ones matter if you're not thinking first and foremost, who is that ideal client that I'm actually trying to serve with my website.
Like not diving straight away, what is your process? How do you do? Like just for us to get a bit of it.
Well, first, if I'm bringing on a new client, the first thing is a big meeting where I really pull everything out of their brain about what is the thing they most want to sell more of. So if that's a product or service, what is the most profitable product or service, the thing they would really, really like to sell a lot more of, and who is buying that exactly, and getting really, really specific about that. Sometimes a business owner's been running their business 20 years and maybe they haven't thought about their ideal client for very long, or recently. You have to pull that out of them and get really clear on that. And then, of course, I look at the SERPs, see what's winning, who's performing well, what's the competition doing, and then go into the tools. But I think another important thing to emphasize is always going onto the SERPs. Don't just go into the tools, but go and see what's actually happening on the first page of Google for what you think may be your most important keywords, because that tells you a lot that you can miss if you just go into the tools right away.
Adam, Yash, do you guys do a similar process or do a bit different from Colette?
Yeah, I would say for us, it's fairly similar, right? We start out with a lot of keyword keyword research and competitive analysis, and then we often take that and then a series of audits, depending on what we're doing. We take that as a forerunner to our conversation with the client and basically kind of uncover what we've discovered. And a lot of times it's pretty illuminating for clients, not even just the opportunities and the strategy behind it, but I always find it interesting when we find opportunities in their business for even different product development opportunities. We've had scenarios where clients said, oh, wow, we realized that this particular product, which was a secondary or third rail product for us, has a lot of volume, and reorient their entire product stack based on just the insights. So we like to start with that, educating clients and letting them know where the opportunities lie, and then boil that down to a conversation, take that conversation and boil that into a strategy. I'm not sure if I'm hearing you.
I don't hear you anymore, Amanda.
Yeah.
Yash, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
You do something similar or a bit different?
Yeah, I'd second what Adam said. It's pretty much the same. It's just that we now only work with HVAC and plumbing companies, so our keyword research process is kind of straight to the point, right? We already have everything figured out. I really like what Colette said on analyzing the SERP. That's exactly what we do, and that pretty much kind of tells you exactly what's working right now for each city. Uh, it could be UGC stuff, it could be a lot of directories, things like that. But you get what exactly Google is trying to find out with that. So yeah, I would say it's pretty much the same.
Great, thanks. And Yash, I also would like to talk about in your local SEO domination blueprint course inside ING, You talk about the absolute core rankings factors for Google Business Profile, like primary
Yeah,
categories, the business name, reviews. And for someone who is just building or claiming their first local listing, what's the most critical factor they need to prioritize right from day one? And what's like a common mistake to avoid?
sure. Uh, First of all, starting with what you said, name. If you can have keywords, again, it comes under grayish area, but if you can have keywords in your name and if you have the same stuff in your legal stuff, have a DBA with it. Uh, just don't overdo that. You can just have a specific category and stuff like that based on how other competitors are doing. That's usually the start. But again, I'm not saying that if you don't have that in your DBA, go and add that to your name. That would get you suspended most probably. But other than that, your primary GBP category, proximity of address to the point of search. So basically, how far you are with the person searching for that. Then physical address, if it's an SAB or if it's a storefront, that matters a lot. Business opening or review velocity is now much bigger factor than it used to be. So that's another thing. Number of reviews also plays a big role, but I would say that lately I've seen that if you have a specific amount of reviews, review velocity starts to play much higher a role. I'm sure Adam and Colette would be seeing pretty much the same stuff as well. Review velocity has recently started playing a much bigger role than it used to like a year or two ago. That stuff. Other than that, kind of again, proximity of address to centroid, if it's a city specific search, then you have got CTR and stuff like that. And yeah, another really big factor is basically how well you have actually optimized the URL that is associated with the GBP. So you have got a website URL section in GBP. That specific URL, that specific page, usually it's your home page or a specific location page if you're a multi-location business. That specific page has to be optimized really well because that plays a big ranking role in GBP or maps as well.
Great. And I know you also took, I mean, right now we are just in a roundtable, so we are just exchanging ideas. And I know you also talk deeper about that in your course. And
Yeah.
today, yeah, today is just like the tip of the iceberg. Thank you. And Adam, I would like to ask you something. Your agency Leaf help business grow smarter through data-driven AI-backed marketing, specifically across multi-location and local business. When you are auditing a client's local presence, how do you bridge the gap between traditional organic SEO and local SEO? And then, like, if Colette and Yash wanted to explore this idea further, I would appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes I see people fall into is to treat local SEO and traditional, especially technical SEO, as two different strategies. And we try to think of them, especially now that we're kind of going into the extra layer of large language models, as one core ecosystem, right? Obviously, there's benefit that you can get out of optimizing your Google Business Profile, and that's often where we want to start. As Yash mentioned, there's things that are often underutilized in that profile, but that just becomes the starting point. From there, it's really figuring out how to make a correlation or connection between that Google Business Profile, the owner's website, and then those third-party signals. I think the thing that's most interesting about how AI and large language models are changing how we do search is it's much more based around consensus. And so, and this has been somewhat traditional with local SEO, less so with traditional SEO, because we think of the NAP, your name, address, website, and phone number, right? For years now, that's been a consensus to help better rank in citations for Google Business Profile. Not as strong of a signal for traditional search engine on, say, your website. But with large language models, it's all about consensus. It's not so much about authority signals in the traditional sense, your backlink authority or anything like that, but it's about what does the broad set of the web, social media, PR, your own web properties, social, et cetera. What is the consensus that is out there? And so, yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway is is to really think of all of these verticals, whether it's your local SEO, whether it's your website SEO, or even these third tiers like social media. Start to think of it as one large ecosystem. I think that's kind of the juncture like that we're at right now.
Oh, Amanda, are you still there?
Yeah, you want to add something, Colette?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Adam in the way of thinking about it. I don't think of them as separate. I don't think I am now going to do one specific type of SEO. I see it as all connected, because ultimately the question is, what does the client want to be known for? What do they want their website to be authoritative for? And that is important across all different forms of SEO. It's all completely interconnected. So yeah, I completely agree. And yeah, I think that it is becoming more important what you're saying, creating that consensus online. But I'm also seeing that people don't understand the full importance of their own website and how much these AI agents cite your own website. And so people are missing out mega real estate by just not saying the thing on their own website. We help these types of people. If you're missing one super important thing that you do, the AI agents, they cannot say that you do that. They can try and extrapolate, but they might not bother. So I think that is also important. Take care of your own website, and then also do the things off page that create those signals that you are authoritative.
Amara, you were
You want to add?
Yeah.
Something?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, I would agree on the consensus part. Eventually, they're trying to know who you are, what do you do, and where do you do that. So as long as you are able to kind of communicate that through your website, third-party signals, and stuff like that, that's how you kind of start getting visible on all of these AI platforms as well. And just to add to one point, what Adam said, kind of being omnipresent is super important. And further down the line now, uh, interaction and stuff like that, that used to be that's still a very big important factor for GBP rankings and stuff like that. That's why brand search and stuff like that impacts everything, be it GBP, be it website, be it AI, and anything like that. So ultimately, you have to just be omnipresent. You have to make sure that you're putting yourself, your business out there on the web, on different platforms, and
And I think
just
understanding too the correlation between these, like what everyone has shared has been like amazing so far. There was a case study. I can't remember who put it out, but it was really good. It was talking about kind of AI visibility as being almost a discovery engine, right? Which is why we still don't see a ton of traffic. So, this case study uncovered how like a lot of people are starting to start their search in large language models, but then they're going to start looking at Google and looking at reviews and then eventually convert. And so I think for a lot of us, and this is what we have to educate our clients, is like, hey, just thinking that if you're just going to run ads and that's going to be a single channel, or you're just going to do local SEO, that's going to be a single channel. We all know that that really hasn't existed for a long time, but it's becoming more and more fractured as we have new search channels, particularly with AI. And so, Colette, to your point, like your website still has to be the foundation, and then secondary, those secondary channels, whether it's your Google Business Profile, and then those third tiers, right? So,
And I don't know if it's to Adam or Colette, but I received one question meanwhile you guys were speaking. Like, if the client doesn't know what's the best approach, how you can guide them? All right, from David. David asked this.
the best approach to, did they specify to local or?
I think so. I think you were mentioning that. David, if you can be more specific, but yeah, you can continue, Adam.
I can answer that and let Colette fill in some gaps. Again, for us, anything that can be observed can be reverse engineered, right? So, Colette mentioned looking at the SERPs. I think that's great because it's proof positive of what is actually working, and then you can start analyzing that. We're really big fans of competitor analysis, and part of that is looking at SERPs and looking at like, hey, who in my market or in my competitor landscape is doing a better job than me, and what are they doing that I'm not doing, right? So for local, that could be, hey, maybe they have some categories that I haven't put in my Google Business Profile. From a technical web perspective, maybe they have a broader set of service pages on their website that I don't have. And you can keep going down that rabbit trail to really figure out how you get that larger slice of the pie. So
Yes, I agree with that. And I also think just maybe part of the question is that communication piece with the client, which can obviously there are challenges sometimes, ups and downs with client communication. I think it can be really helpful. So say you run a test on one client website and you see that something works, that make sure you communicate that to your other clients. Here's what we did, here's what worked, here's why we think this worked. This is something we should be doing on your website as well. Just keep the communication lines open. Most people have their monthly meetings, or some people do quarterly, but usually it's monthly. But just keep telling these types of examples and stories to the client on an ongoing basis, so they keep understanding, oh yes, you are following this trajectory, you know what's going on, I trust you. Ultimately, that's what you need, is your client to trust you so that
and also,
you can take action.
You cannot disclose your confidential information from other clients, but you can also could say oh, my ex-client, he had this result, so this worked for him. I mean, I know everyone's different, but this might help them to get some clarity on what they're looking for.
And you don't have to say which client you did it for. You can say, we did this, these were the results. You're not disclosing anything personal, just your own tests.
Exactly. Thanks, guys. It's hitting up. I'm liking this conversation. Moving into keyword research, Yash, I have a question for you. You teach a very structured approach using tools to map out services versus primary and secondary keywords. How do you translate this into local keyword research, into AI-driven location and service page strategy, ensuring it actually ranks without sounding robotic or losing local trust?
Mhm. Sure. So, first of all, I'm not a very big fan of publishing a lot of city pages and things like that. It really has to be kind of focused towards the service, towards the area where our clients are. So, I'm recently seeing a lot of people kind of pushing 150, 200, 250 pages every single day on their client's website. I'm not a fan of that. I have seen a lot of negative stuff happening through that. So, just to be clear on that, once we get the services, sub-services, and the city or the areas where our clients are, we kind of check for each of those service areas first, and based on the population, based on the search volume, based on how important those areas are for our own client, we then map that out based on the priority list, and then we start building those. We have specific skills for each of these things, for each service, location page, and things like that. We have got cloud skills built for it. That's where we start, and that's usually the first touch point. And then from there we kind of go and do the basic research of about each city. What's the, for instance, I do a lot of HVAC. I'll go and see if there's any specific rebate in that specific state. Texas might offer some sort of rebate, whereas other state might not. So we do the basic research around rebates, and then pricing and things like that for each city, for each area, and then we tend to kind of include those stuff in each of those city pages. I'll try to have city specific information. That's what makes that's the information that makes each page unique, other than the content, the basic optimized content. So basically we have, so kind of just putting everything in process, we have got cloud skill to start from. We get the basic outline and the content built from there. We do all the research about the city, take information from there, and put that in a content outline, and then we take things from there, put it, give it to the web developer who designs that page, and the designer, and then the on-page guy finalizes everything, does the optimization that's needed, and then makes it live.
Great. Adam, Colette, you guys want to add something to that?
I mean, it sounds pretty thorough. Like we have some similar processes too, where we're using AI to automate a lot of what we do, right? Whether it's everything from long form content, service pages, or even local Google Business Profile post. We're building frameworks on AI to continue what we've already done, but to shortcut it and have more precision. So
And yeah, I agree with Yash about not going crazy on city pages on different locations. So you also have to be realistic about what can you actually rank for, and does anybody want to use your service if you're actually like 50 kilometers away. It depends on the niche, of course. And yeah, in terms of how we operate, we actually can't automate that much. In the financial services industry, there's very, very high compliance. So we do obviously use AI, but everything has to go, we go over it with a fine-tooth comb before it gets published. It has to go through like legal compliance before it hits the website. So it's quite a process. And yeah, so unfortunately we can't automate like crazy.
And can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Talking about legal compliances, how do you guys work on that? Like, you structure a very formal contract, and so the clients. It's just come up this question for me when you said about it, Colette. Like, how do you guys? Yeah,
Like on our end, how do I not be held
Yeah,
liable for my SEO work?
yeah, how do you manage that?
It's not really a big deal. I mean, in the contracts, of course, you always put all the important legal disclaimers about algorithms and that you can't be held responsible if Google decides to just like tank everything like a maniac. And then in terms of the client themselves, like they have their own, at least the clients I work with, they have their own compliance team. So everything goes through their compliance, and you have to, at the beginning of the project, get to know what are all the things that compliance gets really worried about, and make sure you try and not include those things, which is usually promises and guarantees in finance. You can't promise results. So yeah, it's very strict.
We're similar. I mean, it's probably standard practice as far as our own contracts to clients. We have, all the cover your bases and all of that. We don't have a particular niche. We have a broad set of clientele, so we have experience across different industries. We do have some that, like Colette, have more sensitivity, and in those cases, a lot of times there's compliance and review for content publication. It does sometimes make the process for publication a little bit more challenging, and so that becomes where it's harder to automate. But the one thing we still can automate, and actually it has become especially beneficial with those particular clients, is using AI to leverage a persona of the client, right? We have a handful of clients, especially those that have that more nuanced or compliance element, that also really want their style of writing or their voice to be echoed, even though our own content team is creating those assets. And that's where we've been able to use AI and a series of processes and questionnaires to really mimic their voice, so that all they have to do is look at compliance, say from an engineering perspective or a legal perspective.
Great. That's something that sometimes we don't talk, right? We talk mostly about the technical side and not and the legal side and compliance side. They are also important. So thank you very much, guys, for your contribution about that. And Colette, if I may continue with you, I know you work with wealth management firms, so there usually you might have some competitive local clients. So when standard on-page local SEO isn't enough to move the needle in a saturated market, what advanced strategies with leveraging microfilm series or highly target video SEO do you implement to win those highly lucrative local CERPs?
Yes. So when you're in a competitive niche, my opinion and experience has been that video can be one of the biggest things you can do to move the needle, because it's a very large conversion driver. We see very strong lift in conversions every time we implement video on a website. And if you're in a really high trust niche like finance, where we're talking about I'm going to give you my $10 million to manage, right? Like, you have to build trust. That is absolutely mission critical. So when people land on that website, you want to have as many trust signals as possible, and video is one of the biggest ones. I think especially now, as we are all consuming more and more AI content, then that real human touch becomes that differentiator, because there are lots of lazy websites, right, where there is no human touch. So then that website that has gone the extra mile to build trust, to actually put themselves in front of a camera, which most people hate doing, yeah, they are going to win. And yeah, I've seen that. So video series, and it doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to become a YouTuber. Like, you can do a video series that's demonstrating your expertise in solving a prospect's problem. Do, say, 5 videos, do a press release on it so that you can get some PR as well. You can get traffic coming from YouTube, but you'll get a lift on your website in terms of traffic and conversions. So you don't have to become a YouTuber, I guess is my takeaway, to use video effectively.
No. And Adam and Yash, do you use something else? Like Colette, she uses more this video because she's also a video producer, right, Colette?
Yeah.
You guys use something extra to increase those CRP's results, or?
Yeah, I mean, so we've been doing a lot more with PR than we've done in years, right? There was a time where PR kind of fell out of favor because everyone in our space was using them primarily for backlinks, and I think the value from a backlink perspective has pretty much waned. So there was a period where we stopped doing PR. And we've started doing that quite heavily now, more for consensus and brand building, because it plays into that, this whole idea of consensus that I keep, talking about. Same thing, we're starting to re-explore things like social signals, which again, in the past we killed off for the same reasons, as not so much for the social signal, but for building consensus across networks. And so it's interesting, like it's this idea that what is old is new again, right? A lot of what we're doing as far as visibility in large language models is really just what we used to do and used to call reputation management. Well, now it's the same general process, but it has a new application in large language models. So.
Yeah, Yash.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of videos again. I have actually got a client who shoots his own video. He's an HVAC company in North Carolina, and he does raw videos. Okay, and he gets like 30-40K views on each of his short form videos, and obviously he gets a lot of leads from those videos. But that also helps us in SEO, because a lot of people are actually searching for his brand now. You know, so that's something that I'm a big fan of. And again, exactly what Colette said. We actually started doing an introduction video of companies, right? We don't shoot that, but we ask them to shoot, and then we kind of post and add that to the website, and we have seen impact of that. It has to be a simple video. You can just go and introduce you, your team, and stuff like that. But that helps a lot. People want to see you, and plus, again, the last one, videos are also showing up on search, so that's an additional signal.
Yeah, right now, like the Gemini, all the AIs, they are also showing YouTube
Yeah.
videos, things they were not using that, like, it was not that often, like 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So things are shifting, and not only YouTube, also TikTok, Instagram, and all of those sources.
Did you see that Google is now going to be pretty soon rolling out so that everyone can follow what's happening on 4 of the platforms on the Google Search Console? So you're going to be able
No,
to add a property.
No,
Yes.
I haven't. You guys have?
So
Yeah. Please keep me up to date, or everyone here watching.
Well, so far, I don't have it activated on my account. They're doing a slow rollout. So we'll see what that means. Have either of you gotten access to it where you've been able to actually implement that yet on your Search Console?
It's funny because I was literally talking to our team and I'm like, hey, you guys go in and start checking this, right? Which I think it's a sign of where things are going, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And we've never considered ourselves a social media marketing company. I almost cringe at the idea, but I'm kind of like to the point where it's like, hey, we have to get over this. And even if we're not going to become your traditional social media marketing company, we can't ignore social, which is again why we're exploring social signals once again. And we killed that off 12 months ago because we're like, hey, the way that we're doing this is no longer effective, but now we have a new application of that, which I think along with what other things that we're starting to reintroduce has its footprint, right? Yeah, and short form video too, like you guys are saying, I definitely echo that. Like it's becoming part of discovery in search and other platforms. So it's a big part of what we try to instill in our clients as well.
On a side note,
yeah, please. No,
just a thing to add, I post a lot of short form videos on my Instagram, and that helps a lot in kind of getting people or in hiring eventually. So that's another thing that solves a big problem, because I don't think there's any bigger problem in a company than hiring. Instagram or having a personal brand or a brand of a company solves that for you. So I don't
Yeah.
think there's any downside of doing all of these social stuff. It's just going to help you.
and
it may depend. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, please collect.
I'm just thinking every business has a budget, in terms of money and time. So picking their channel or channels judiciously is also important. I think it's interesting to note the 4 channels that Google is deciding to put into the Search Console, right? That's, I think, Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube. So that already signals what does it consider the most important in terms of where it's drawing its information from, most likely, as well for those AI overviews and for Google AI mode. So obviously I would prioritize those. And even if you can only do one, that's great. Start with that.
And we're seeing a lot of like Instagram popping a lot for knowledge panels, which again is like, for my personal brand, it's probably my least touched channel. And now I'm like, okay, I have to start not ignoring this anymore as much as I have. So
it's a mix of things, right? SEO has its part, ads has its part, social media its part. So the clients, they have more outcome from that. And I was remembering, like when I was talking to Yash, because we are having, I don't know if this happened to one of our clients, we're having some members that they said some clients, they cancel some contracts because SEO is not working anymore, but it's just shifting. And Yashi actually said that his contracts right now is much faster. So like your contracts are still on, but you just develop them much faster. How do you guys say about that? This new AI era versus like clients canceling contracts or no clients closing more deals because it's much faster? I want to hear everyone's inputs about that, if please.
yeah, I could start. And I've been starting to change our vernacular as an agency, like, and it's hard because we have a reputation of being an SEO company, but we do a lot more than that, and I'm sure that's the case with everyone on the call here. We do web design, we do paid ads, obviously SEO, and now GEO, or all the different monikers for that. And so I'm starting to change our vernacular with clients and even our internal staff to search marketing, because really I think for us that's a better term, because it doesn't so much matter which search vertical people are coming through, right? It can be social. YouTube is not traditionally thought of as a search engine, but it's technically the second largest search engine on the planet. We think of it as a social media platform, but it's also it's a discovery platform. And then of course, the elephant in the room, large language models. So, and I think for probably most of us on the call or anyone that works with clients, they don't really care for the most part of how you generate business. They just want to know that it works. So I think getting hung up on I'm an SEO expert, or I'm a Google advertising expert, or I'm a Facebook marketing expert, I think having that mindset for too long is going to be short-sighted for a lot of people, and we have to just start think of, hey, and this is the other thing too. It's like our job is to solve problems for businesses, right? Sometimes that's not even marketing. Sometimes it's just business consulting, which is not part of our formal agreement, but it kind of comes with the territory. So.
Yes, I agree with Adam completely. And already for a couple of years, my main way of talking with clients has been about leads, prospects, conversions, and ROI. And especially figuring out, okay, these are the most high value sales or deals that you've had. Where did they come from? And focusing on that. Because ultimately the client cares about revenue, profit, ROI more than anything else. And so as long as you still have those leads, those intro calls flowing in, whatever it is that moves the needle for them, that's what they care about. And if they're happy with that, they'll renew. So even if the traffic is going down, they don't seem worried, which I find interesting, because I definitely have some sites where the traffic is just like amazingly decimated, and yet the leads still flow in, which shows you this brave new world we're in. The trickle downward doesn't always reflect in your leads and your closed deals and your revenue. It's just a new world.
Yeah. And adding to what Adam said, my mentor actually said this, that as an agency, your job is to kind of see from the POV of a doctor. A doctor doesn't go and just prescribes any medicine, right? He actually checks what the patient actually needs. That you have to see what your client needs. They might not need SEO. They might need ads at that specific point of time. So your job is to actually find the issue, and then give the best possible solution. As an agency, we offer meta ads and LSA and stuff like that as well. And my clients are really excited about AI. They know that we as an SEO agency, or if we are doing SEO for them, we are also working on the AI stuff, because we kind of have monthly meetings and stuff like that. So I just kind of told them that stop hearing all the bullshit about SEO is dead, geo is the biggest thing, and whatever that shit is. But we are doing whatever it takes to get you ranked organically on Google, AI, and all of these stuff. So they are kind of excited rather than being scared of all of these things, and we have been growing pretty fast.
I just say one more point on that too, that Yash reminded me of is, I know, well, let's see here, I don't know, 12, 14 some odd months ago, I was losing a lot of sleep over the whole transition of AI, because there's a lot of the FUD about AI is going to destroy digital marketing. And so as a business owner, I put a lot of money in the bank and got very conservative. Knock on wood, like I haven't had to touch any of those funds, right? It was kind of like the sky is falling plan. But what I've seen is they're, like Yash is saying, they're now, we just have one more problem to solve for clients. And there's a lot of push, like, hey, I don't understand this AI. I feel like I'm getting behind. I know that you talk about this. How can you help us? And that's where we can come into play and help educate clients. One of the things, we have like an AI visibility dashboard. And one of the very first pieces of that is we break down a chart that details specifically how much actual traffic is coming from large language models. And it's less than 1% for most businesses. And then we start talking about, look, AI at this juncture, we do anticipate that it's going to grow as far as a traffic channel, but really it's more of a discovery. And so, it becomes an education piece, but also an opportunity, right? So again, if you stop thinking, hey, I do SEO, or I do Google ads, or I do Facebook marketing, and you start thinking, I solve problems with marketing, I think that's how you can insulate yourself as a business, and think of it as an opportunity. Because again, going back to my earlier point, like at the end of the day, our job is solving problems. And so if you get out of the mindset of I just do SEO, and you get in the mindset of I help businesses solve problems, you're going to have work, for the end of time.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that, Adam. And guys, one last advice you would give for people who are working with local SEO, like the do nots and the do's, like what you guys would advise initially to all of them?
I can answer one. I mean, there's all kinds of things we see. Like, one of the things I notice as far as like what's often thought of as a best practice that's, I think, overused or overvalued is a lot of times we see people will post on Google Business Profile and they think, and this is the case with a lot of disciplines, they think that, well, if it works, then doing more is going to work better. And that's not the case. Like what we talked about earlier with service pages, I 100% agree. Like, just because it works in a subset doesn't mean more is better. I see the same thing with Google Business Profile posting. It's like, hey, we used to do 2 a month and now we do 20 a month, and thinking that is going to really move the needle. And a lot of times it's wasting time, right? So that's one pitfall I see, is more is not always better, right?
Yeah, I agree with you for sure. And it can be an easy trap, because if you do see something working, then you might, my dad's actual catchphrase is more is always better. So got to get that out of my head. But one of the things I'm really interested in right now is the idea of information gain. And if you're in a more competitive niche, how important it is to make sure that you're adding something to the internet that was not there before. Because if AI can write a basic expert level blog post or expert level, like whatever service page, then how are you really going to be different if you don't add expertise, if you don't add any information gain? Why will the AI cite you if your post or your page is the same as literally everybody else's? So for me, I've been putting a lot of emphasis for the last year on interviewing my clients and then using AI to sort through that and turn that into content that we use on their service pages and on their blog posts, because we actually get conversions off of our blog posts. And yeah, I think that's really important. And then case studies is like the thing that I'm obsessed with right now. So I'm testing that on one client website. We're testing whether an expert insights integration versus case studies, which performs better. And right now they're honestly tied. So both of them are performing well. We've seen a lift in conversions since introducing these into certain posts that were already converting. We have this one AI overview, like there's a keyword that we rank for, and we're completely dominating the AI overview. It's insane. You go and you look at it and it's just my client. Like AI, like Google, what is wrong with you? There's other people. But I think it's because we have put focus on making sure that it's not just generic. And so the AI, my working thesis right now is it wants to pull that unique content. And even if you look at Google's guidelines about how to do SEO for AI, they literally say that. Make sure you're not doing commodity content. So I feel like that's a very important thing, especially if you're in really competitive niches or like your money or your life.
So the question is, what's something that's a waste of time, right?
Yes, the do's and the don'ts and the do's, like what you
Okay.
would advise some people.
A lot of don'ts, actually, starting with the first one that Adam mentioned. Post, stop obsessing over post. That's not a direct ranking factor. uh, that's the first one. Second, geotagging photos and stuff like that, and then putting that on GBP, then creating thousands of Google My Maps pins and stuff like that. I see that a lot on Fiverr. People paying $5, $10 for 1,000 Google My Maps pins and stuff like that. And then buying 500, 600,000 citations that doesn't even get crawled. Okay, there are some citations or some directories where you need to be present. Go get either Yext, Bright Local, those sort of citations. That's going to be probably a 50, 60 citations, and then there are other industry specific citations. In total, it's going to be somewhere around 100, 120. You don't really have to go and buy 500 thousands of them. If they're not getting crawled, there's no benefit of doing that. So that's all from me.
Great. Guys, we are in our roundtable for getting to the end. I would like to thank you guys very much for all your help, for all the exchange we had here today. And yeah, please say your websites and LinkedIn profiles or whatever you prefer, so people can find you in social. And after this roundtable, we will make a post and tag you guys. But yeah, please, be my guest to say. Adam, you want to start?
Yeah, so people can find more about me at adamchronister.com, just like my name, or alternatively, there's a URL, authorityengineeringbook.com. They both go to the same website. So
Colette?
I'm gonna read your book, Adam. I'm excited. I love a
awesome.
good
Let
SEO
me know
read.
what you think.
Yes, I will. And for me, really just my website, storyenvelope.com. I pretty much avoid social. As we've discussed, that's a bad idea, but for now, I'm a little busy. So yeah, storyenvelope.com.
Great.
Uh, you can connect with me on Facebook, Yash Singh, or just go on YouTube and search for me, SEO with Yash. Uh, my website is more of an agency thing, and if you are an HVAC or plumbing business, sure, go to tradeopsconsulting.com. Otherwise, that's not something of your use. Thank you.
Okay. Guys, thank you very much. I hope you guys have a nice day, evening, night over there, and hope to keep in touch soon.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.